Hi guys, it's Nika and I'm back with another Creatism video where I will talk about some of my characters. Today I would like to introduce you to Miracle and Adam. They are my Gen 5 couple from my old Rose legacy, and Miracle is the daughter of Caleb, the same that I talked about a lot in in his video, and then in Angel's video, and in Benjamin's video. He's the guy that was abducted by aliens and came back with an alien daughter. If you want more details on that, surely check out Angel's video and Benjamin's video as well, because I explain it there a lot. So Caleb was abducted by aliens. He came back pregnant, which, well, he didn't know he was pregnant. He just felt like he was gaining weight for no reason. And he kind of blamed it all on stress, even though he knew that he probably wouldn't gain this much weight from stress. And everything pointed at a pregnancy, but I mean, he is a man, so how would that even cross his mind that he could be pregnant, right? But yeah, he thought he was just being way too stressed, way too depressed. I don't know. He probably was taking some meds too to help his depression, right? And you know how a lot of them can cause weight gain. Know that from experience. So he was like, yeah, okay, that's just a reaction to something, and he probably had some explanation for when he felt something like kicks in his stomach. He was like, he had an explanation for that, and an alien pregnancy didn't even cross his mind. Well, 9 months later, a little girl is born, and Caleb's world completely flipped upside down. Except I'm not sure if I want to say upside down, because when you say upside down, or at least to me, to me it sounds like something bad happened, but for Caleb, his world turned upside down in a good way. Because sure, this is not how he planned for it to be, but he finally had the child that he had wanted so much, and basically his whole world was crushed when he found that he couldn't have children, at least not the usual way, the biological way. Well, the aliens help him with that, of course, because now here we are, we have little Miracle, and yeah, so he started raising her. He tried to explain to his family what had happened. Yeah, I know now we are wondering, so, like, did they accept that or did they find that weird? Well, they are very much used to the supernatural, and like Caleb's parents, they travel to the future and everything. They are cool with that. If their son comes to them saying, hey, so I was abducted by aliens 9 months ago and now I have a daughter who has a little bit of alien genes in her, they would be cool with it. They would not question it. So yeah, the family was very supportive and everyone was helping Caleb with little Miracle, and little Miracle was growing well. She was born the usual alien way. She looked a lot like an alien, you know, the black eyes, the green skin and everything. But as the time went, over the first few years of her life, her human part of the genes, it sort of started showing more. And just quickly, since she was originally Sims 3 Sim, and there are no like alien disguises there, she has just one form, and that is like, I mean, in The Sims 4 she has the alien form, but I will never use it, I think. So her like final form, final appearance, eventually her skin tone turned like a human color, but her eyes stayed pitch black, and that was actually something that once she got to school she struggled a lot with. They sort of, with her dad and with her family, they sort of played it as, well, she's got this rare genetic disorder. Her eyes just look like that. It's not anything weird. I mean, it is probably a bit weird, but I mean, unusual, I would say. I don't want to say the word weird. It's probably a bit unusual, but it's like, it doesn't mean anything you should be concerned about. Well, the kids were a bit mean, and I don't know why I said a bit mean. They were really mean. She had like zero friends. You know, the usual bullies, they called her a monster and stuff like that. Some even called her an alien, because really she had these big pitch black eyes. Like, it just came to the children's mind that she might be an alien, even though she mostly looks like a human. As for if she knew if she's an alien, actually the genetic disorder thing, the rare disorder thing, that's sort of what her family told her as well. They didn't really want her to know that she was, you know, so different, because especially Caleb, he felt like it would only hurt her if she knew the truth about how she came to the world, how she came to be, basically. He wanted her to think that she is actually just a human girl who happens to have a rare disorder with her eyes, something with her eyes, and yeah, like, that's the only thing that's different about her. He didn't want to make it harder for her. He eventually told her when Miracle was a teenager, because she kind of started asking questions, and actually some more of her alien traits developed and started showing. You may know that Sims 3 aliens don't need to sleep, or at least I think they don't need to sleep. They have this mental energy bar instead, and they go into this like trance or something, or they can consume rocks. I'm sorry, someone is texting me. I thought I turned my phone off. No, but they have this like different bar, and I feel like they really don't need to sleep. And that is sort of something that started happening to Miracle. She started losing sleep, but she wasn't tired, and she started getting into these weird trances, and every time the trance stopped, she felt more refreshed and energetic, and a few other things were happening, and she was really concerned about them. So she asked her dad, or I mean, she didn't ask him, she came to him and she said, "Hey Dad, I'm dealing with these things. I don't know what to do. I think there's something wrong with me, and I need your help." And so Caleb finally sat her down and said, "Listen, there's nothing wrong with you. That's just how you are." And he told her about her origin and everything finally. And also he felt like she is old enough to handle the truth. And when he told her, she wasn't even upset. She wasn't even mad that he kept it from her, cause she's a lot like him, and if she was in his situation, she would probably do the same. Literally, she's like a little clone of him, like personality wise and everything. She's mini Caleb with alien eyes. So yeah, she took it well, I would say. I mean, as well as you can take the fact that you've lived your entire life as a human with a rare disorder, and then you find out actually it's not a disorder, it's just what you are. You're not really a human. Well, I mean, I like to describe it as she is half human, half alien. But yeah, she took it mostly well, and started planning out her life, knowing that this is just like, she's always gonna be a bit different, right? But I just realized we need to go back to her childhood. So she was bullied a lot in school, and children didn't like her, and they always pointed at her. She was the weird girl. They also didn't like her because she was very smart, and the teachers, even though they were a bit concerned about her eyes, even though they were told it's nothing to worry about, they were still a bit like, I don't know, intimidated by it. I would say. Yeah, even though they do kind of thought the girl is weird, they liked her because she was smart and she was very nice and she was always paying attention and always doing all her homework. And if the whole classroom, if all her classmates were chaotic and not paying attention to the lesson and doing all sorts of shit that they definitely weren't supposed to be doing in a classroom, Miracle was still sitting her at the front row and she would still be listening to the teacher, or I guess waiting for the teacher to resume teaching, as soon as they deal with the mean kids who are yelling and, as I said, doing shit that they should not be doing in a classroom. Can you tell I was sort of a girl too? And it annoyed me when people were misbehaving in class. Yeah, yeah, maybe we will get into that as well, about how, like, Miracle shares a lot with me. Yeah, it was kind of therapeutic 6 years? 6 years ago, yeah, it was kind of therapeutic to write out her storyline, and it was something I needed back then. I would write it differently now. I would put a different message in it, but definitely I needed that story 6 years ago, I think. But back to Miracle. So she had no friends except her cousins, and those always protected her, especially Mary. As soon as she saw that someone is being mean to Miracle, she went and she was ready to get in trouble for her little cousin. She defended her and protected her from literally anything. Literally all it took for her to show up and like defend her. You could look at Miracle a bit weirdly, and Mary would be there and she would already be ready to fight. Basically, she actually did get in trouble a few times because, yeah, she fought with a few people. As for Scarlett, she was just like, she wasn't really fighting the bullies, but she was there for her younger cousin. And then when James came around, she was a bit older than the twins, and I would say a bit more mature, so also not really any fights were happening there, but she was really taking care of Miracle, and she was really letting her know that she is loved and all these... Okay, that's a dog. I don't know if you can hear him. Yeah, she was letting her know that she is loved and all these people, they don't matter, and everything will turn out well. She was just like trying to fill her with positivity, and also like Miracle maybe had no friends at school, but she was very, very loved at home, and her home life sort of made up for what she was lacking at school. Although, and maybe this is more of me talking, I feel like somehow part of her always grieved that she didn't get to have a usual school experience, if you know what I mean. Finally, her last year of high school came, and since she was very much into art, I think she kind of pulled this from her great-grandfather, who used to be a painter, and now Miracle, she was also really enjoying painting and drawing and everything like that. She decided to go to an art school, and she succeeded. She was accepted, and she started preparing for her life in university. Just a few months before that happened, she had this spot in Twinbrook this one pond where she liked to hang out because nobody ever came there, and it was really pretty. It was kind of very, very well hidden, and it was very peaceful and calm, and she used to come there to draw. And one time she was sitting there, and suddenly someone else showed up. His name was Adam, and he came to town for a funeral, for his grandmother's funeral. But he ran from there because, okay, so they buried his grandma, and then, all the relatives, the entire family came together, and someone caused some shit. I don't remember what exactly it was, but they started fighting over money, and Adam didn't want to listen to that, so he decided to go for a walk, and he walked around the town, and then he decided to go to the nature because he really didn't feel like coming back to his family, because he was sure they were still fighting about the money and who gets to inherit what exactly and stuff like that. And he was just drawn in this direction, sort of. Oh my god, I'm sorry, that was my chair. I didn't mean to do that sound. He came there, and he and Miracle briefly talked, and long story short, it was, at least for Miracle, she wasn't sure how Adam felt. For Miracle, it was definitely love at first sight. She felt like they had known each other since forever. They had similar hobbies. Adam said he was into sculpting. He really wanted to be a sculptor, which made his parents mad because they envisioned a career in science for him, and they really weren't supportive of his dream, of his intention to go to art school as well. And Miracle really felt like she found someone who could understand her, who could, I don't know, maybe be a friend to her. By the way, I think it's important to say Adam didn't know about her eyes, because she started wearing these huge glasses, these huge sunglasses that covered everything, and unless you looked too close, you wouldn't know that there is anything strange about her eyes. So he didn't know that, there's anything different about her. Anyway, they really enjoyed their time together, but then it was time for Adam to go. His mother called him that they're leaving now, and he has to come back immediately, or else he will get in trouble. And so Adam quickly left, and as soon as he was gone, Miracle realized they never exchanged any contact information. They have no way to stay in touch, and he didn't mention which of the older ladies in Twinbrook who was his grandma, because if he had mentioned that, Miracle could have definitely gone there and asked about Adam or something. She could ask someone there, but she didn't know who was his grandma. So that was lost, but Miracle never stopped thinking about him. She never felt this way for anyone, and for the following few months she wanted to get rid of this crush because she knew it wasn't going anywhere, but she couldn't stop thinking about him. So then summer was over, and it was time for Miracle to start her first year in university. So she left for uni, she went to her dorm room, she introduced herself to her roommate, who, well, how do I say that nicely? She wasn't the nicest of people. And then the roommate was like, hey, so I'm gonna go meet my boyfriend now. Do you want to meet him too? You look like you could use a few friends, or something like that. I don't remember. Basically, she just dragged Miracle with her, even though Miracle wasn't really interested in hanging out with her. But she went with her, and guess what? Guess who the boyfriend was? It was indeed Adam. He was dating this mean, rude, terrible girl. And we are running out of time, I feel like, so I will not be able to tell you all about the uni storyline. But honestly, I feel like that's fine. There will be a few more opportunities. And also, like the uni storyline, that part of the story, of Miracle's story, was kind of a mess. Well, it wasn't a mess, but I would write it very differently, and rather than having Miracle, okay, this is kind of a spoiler, don't listen if you're planning on reading the old storyline on Tumblr, but rather than Miracle magically getting human eyes and becoming fully human after a kiss from Adam, I would make it a story of acceptance. Like she would finally fully accept herself the way she is, and she would be sort of proud of her differences, and yeah, and obviously Adam would realize he's dating a mean bitch and he would fall for the nice girl instead, just as he fell for her in the original. No, but actually I feel like if I will want to talk about the uni storyline, I'm gonna need a lot more time for that, because I have a lot to say about that. And if you've been following me since my very active Tumblr days, you know that I have a lot to say about that story. It was a huge story, and then I realized, oh no, that's not the message that I want to say. But yeah, as I mentioned briefly earlier in this video, I think it was something I needed back in 2017, because I really wanted to fit in. I really wanted to be like everyone else. So I wrote it to, I don't know, I guess get some comfort or something. Like I really wasn't ready to be like, okay, there are some things that are different about me, and it's not always easy being me, but I like being me. I wasn't ready to love myself like that, if that makes sense. So yeah, instead I wrote a story where the different girl becomes just like everyone else, and I fully realized the end of this video was a bit confusing probably, and I was all over the place, but still, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we didn't really get to talk much about Adam. I didn't even reveal the biggest twist about Adam, but if you look at his surname and then you look at the other creators and videos that I did, you will realize whose son this is, and especially who's his mother. And then you will realize who his mother was married to before. And yeah, ta-da, that was the big twist of Gen 5. Yeah, anyway, I will probably talk about them at some other time. I'm not sure if it will be like last week, where I posted the CAS video on Friday and then on Saturday I was ready to talk about the girls a bit more, but I definitely want to talk about Miracle and Adam and their friends and Adam's mean girlfriend. I definitely want to talk about them more, so that will happen, no worries. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. I love you guys, bye everyone.